mind. I feel like I don't know what's going on lately.
How do you look?
Thank you.
I didn't know about this. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so we're live everywhere else except for YouTube. So I'll just go ahead and put this on YouTube later.
Mm-hmm.
But we on Facebook and Twitter. This technology stuff is kind of slick, you know.
It sure is.
Like it. Hey fam, I hope y'all are catching us live. And I also want to greet those of you who may be catching us on the replay. I'm going to go ahead in the comments and just say what's up. Every woman that I spoke to today, every business partner and client was going through it out there.
Yeah, the energy's heavy.
They was feeling all the feels. I was catching people in a moment of like, why God? And so I'm like, you know what? Althea and I live this on a regular. Let's go ahead and give the people some tips and tell them what they need and just bring some empowerment, because it is tribe life and the resourcing of other people's ideas and perspectives that has really helped me be who I am and really amplified my power. But if I only am relying on my brain, sometimes my brain is tired and sometimes my brain just ain't got it, right? So for those of you who have just been moving through all of the ebbs and flows and shifts of this energy and you've been feeling the intensity of it, I just want to offer to you that you are not alone. You are okay. You will make it through this shift. Just breathe. You do have to make some key decisions. And you do have to change.
Yeah.
And once you accept that and you don't treat the transformation as inconvenient, you don't treat the transformation as optional, but you literally just accept and allow. And I invite you to put that in the comment section. I accept and I allow. Once you do that, it's easier. It's easier. So we just wanted to have a conversation, inviting you to tap into 3 techniques we're going to give you on how you can ground your energy when you know it's time to create more for yourself. We're going to also just give you a preview of how to prepare for this eclipse energy that's coming in. And then we're going to talk about your assignment, because some of you are having difficulty because you're misaligned with your true assignment and you're trading dollars and checks just to be able to make ends meet. But that period of grace has ran out and spirit is forcing you into a corner that says, are you going to stand up in the truth of who you are or not? So, Althea, come on in.
She's like, we're about to take over right now. Let me just hush.
See, I'm being scared. Once I start rocking this stuff, it's like, oh, okay.
I could feel like the crescendo was happening. I'm just like, here we go.
You know, study my preacher voice. That's when you know. Yeah. That's how you know you my sister, because you just sitting back like, I'm about to go off.
So the first thing I want here. Yes. So the first thing I want to share is, even the women who are in this field already, like us, we, like you said, we go through some things as well. So me personally, the 2 weeks was tough. I was having all the heavy energy you said the women were talking about today. I was dealing with that last week and the week before. And I was just like, oh, this is a lot. I don't even know what to do. So I have to always tap back into my own toolbox, my own personal toolbox. And as you already mentioned, breathing is such an important part of that. I had years ago, one of my therapists told me, make sure you're breathing. And I was like, oh my God, that is so simple. Not always easy, but it is simple. It's like when we are in fight or flight mode or in survival mode, we can be breathing so shallow and we don't even realize it. And so at times I really have to just sit and be like, okay, Althea, take a deep breath, and then just keep doing that. Just one breath at a time sometimes is enough. But you have to make sure you're breathing, because if you're not thinking clearly. Your brain literally is not getting enough oxygen, and then your brain is not working properly. So that in itself, you have different breathing techniques that you can use, but even just a simple breath is really just something. Just take a pause and remember to be present. It brings you back to your present self and brings you back to that present moment as well. So breathing is the number one technique you want to use when you need to ground yourself. The second thing that I like to personally do is to write things down. Writing things down is important to me because it does a couple things. One, it lets me see what I'm thinking, right? Because sometimes we are always like, and me as a Virgo, I have a lot of thoughts. And sometimes the way I picture them is like they are literally running into each other like a traffic jam in the middle of the day, and everybody's trying to merge at once. Like, I'm important, let me go. And so writing things down allows me to see it, but it also makes something more physical. It takes it from the ethers in your brain, and it makes it physical on paper, and it makes space for the clarity that you need when you actually are looking like, okay, this is what I'm actually thinking. And for me, I have this agreement or this rule with myself that when I write something down, I'm going to be completely honest with myself. I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I really think this thing is going to work and it's not going to work. Like, when I write it down, I make sure that I'm speaking the truth. So writing for that reason for me is extremely important when it comes to grounding myself, because when I'm honest with myself, it allows me to also look at where my values are and what my standards are in that moment. And I've had to do that recently, and I had to say, all right, Althea, are we going to keep accepting this, or are we going to raise our standards and get back to our true values and then go from there? I'm in a much better place now that I've allowed myself to do that. A much better place. I feel definitely more free. I have more clarity. I do feel more grounded, because I'm telling you right now, what's today? Wednesday. Last Wednesday, if you tried to call me or talk to me, it would have been like, what are we doing here today? I don't even know. Let me just get through the day. Let me just get through the actual day, because I don't know what's going on. So writing, very important. The other thing that I like to do is making a plan. So writing things down is one thing, but sometimes we write it down and then we forget about it. I'm definitely guilty of that. If anybody else is guilty of that, put that in the comments. Put a 1 in the comments that you were guilty.
Don't write it on a Post-it, because then I'll just lose the entire Post-it.
Oh, exactly. My thing is, like, I'll write it in a notebook and forget what page I wrote it on, or like if it's not in chronological order. Listen, so once you write it down, make sure you put a plan in place. So you could use different things. You could use a calendar, a paper calendar, a digital calendar, anything like that. But really be, like I said, be honest with yourself, but put it into place. So if I'm like, oh, I really want to raise my standards on how I'm eating, right? The plan might be you need to put some time on your calendar to go to the grocery store, instead of assuming that you're going to just make time when you're hungry or make time when you're free, because you didn't make that free time. So it may not be exactly like as clear and linear as you think. You got to just do some thinking and really say, like, okay, this standard or this vision that I have that I wrote down on paper, this change I want to make, or this thing I want to do to ground myself, then how does it look being applied in real life? The other thing is you want to hold your vision, whatever that vision is for yourself. While you're making your plan, you hold that vision, because you need to be able to see the big picture. It's not always going to be comfortable, and it's not always going to be easy to even say yes to the plan that you want to put in place. So for me, I need to amp up my self-care this month. I went through a lot at the beginning of, going into the beginning of this month, ending last month. And so I was looking at my calendar today, like, maybe I'll take this day off, or maybe I'll do this one. But I'm like, wait a second. If I take this day off, I might be messing with my money on this week. And I was like, Althea, You are more powerful than that. Why are you worried about the money coming? It's going to come. It's going to come either way. So I say that to say that sometimes you can, when you start making a plan, you really got to hold the vision. What's the big picture? The big picture for me is like, you're going to get the money either way. It don't matter. Stop trying to tell God how to get the money to you. Just make the plan. If you need more self-care, put the self-care on the calendar and let everything else work out how it's going to go.
Yeah. So, not only that, can I just piggyback on that point? We stop being so money driven. Like, even in our deaths, we create a bill. Like, at some point, the values of what drives your lifestyle has to become bigger than material and superficial things. Because I just literally watched a reel with Will Smith. He was being interviewed, and I felt what he was saying. He said, literally, I have experienced buying everything that I've ever wanted to buy and still discovered that none of that made me happy. Yeah. He said, I know everybody doesn't have that kind of money or that kind of opportunity, but I'm telling you from sitting in that position that the satisfaction, the joy of life, the being happy and fulfilled comes from when you face your shadows. This is what Will Smith said. You face your shadows head on, deep internally, and then in the midst of that, you create happiness and come back into the world offering it to everyone. And I just love that. I was like, yeah, man, this is bigger than the money and the bills. I'm gonna need some of you listening right now to stop compromising on your values, your full, true expression of yourself, because the first comes the same time every month.
Okay.
There's something bigger than just these coins and bags.
It sure is. Yes. And allow yourself to feel all of that and then still go do what you got to do.
Yeah. Gotta live.
Yeah. Breathe through it, write it down, plan it out. That's how you ground yourself. Coming from someone who has dealt with a lot of anxiety in my life, I have not felt more clear until I started really planning things out. Because then my brain knows what's coming. It's so simple when you when you say it out loud, it's so simple, but it wasn't always easy for me to just do it. It's like, oh, but if I actually do that, then I have to take the time to do it. It's like, just do it. Just manage your anxiety somewhere else, but just do the thing. Just do the thing.
A lot of the times the anxiety passes once the illusion is addressed. Absolutely. So the illusion is that what's in front of me that I got to get done, or, you know, whatever adversity, whatever, even if it's not an adversity, it could be success that makes you anxious. But whatever is in front of you, the anxiety is triggered by what is unknown. Yes. Am I really ready for this moment? Can I really handle this? But the truth is going to set you free once you dive in. So, like, Althea tell you, I'm the type of energy that's like, oh, you want to swim? Let's go. Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, the water's only 3 feet.
And then you stand up and be like, oh, I don't even need to swim. I just need to stand up. Right? Like, fear, I think the acronym is what? False evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
Some of you are trapped in responding to what's not even occurring. And there's no power in reacting to what's not real.
Yep.
You have to learn to breathe and create a space, just a little space. It don't even have to be big, just a little space to become fully present.
Yes.
And just get in this moment before you're
trying right out my mouth. You know, because when you have that anxiety, you're living too far in the future. Even if it's 10 seconds too far, it's just too far.
It's just too far. Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, the power is in the now. It's not in what happened already. It's not in the next 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Literally, if you train, and the science has proved this, you know, Joe Dispenza talks about all the great scientists of this time who studied the brain and the nervous system and epigenetics and all of that. They are saying, if you can just breathe and become present, you will literally change the trajectory of your life.
Yeah.
So some of you are frustrated because all of the things that you had planned for this week to get done aren't getting done. But consider what version of you planned this week.
That's good.
Was it grounded, centered, calm, relaxed? Was it the version of you that feels like you have something to prove and someone to prove it to? Which version of you planned all the stuff you're trying to get done?
That's such a good question. That needs to be a journal prompt for everybody on this live right now.
Listening, feel free to pop in. You know, we have our sacred virtual space. Let the womb be heard. But honestly, I feel like Althea, this eclipse is like what you remember when we were in school and we would write something and then get the white out and have to white it out and we'll write over it. I feel like that's the vibration right now. It's eclipsing all the things you are still loyal to that no longer are in alignment with your assignment.
That's right.
If it's your job, then yeah, you having issues with your career right now.
Yep.
Spirit is like, I told you like 8 years ago what it was. Like, and your graces just ran out. It's 2024. Told you it was going to be a Cat Williams type of year. Did you think we was going to go into spring any different? Yeah. Like,
yep.
Could be that. If it is your relationships with people, you may be having some serious purges right now and clearings and friendships, family relationships, marriage. And if you look at what is not settled right now, like what is shaking, you're honest and you can't heal without the truth. So you got to be really, really honest with yourself. It's stuff that should have been shook out.
I was just going to say that. So one of the big lessons I have learned or remembered this past week is it's not always that a particular person or environment or something is the problem. Sometimes that person is the one that's going to irritate you the most to get your attention. And they're exhibiting the behaviors that you've already allowed in every other part of your life already. And then they are the person that's the true mirror to be like, I'm just being myself, but I'm irritating the hell out of you. And then you mad at me.
Vexing all my demons.
You mad at that person because you think it's that person, and it's like, it's not the person necessarily. Sometimes it can be the person. Sometimes that person needs to be the thing that falls away. But really, it's what are you accepting from that person? That's what I personally had to allow myself.
Yeah, one of my friends years ago had said to me, because I was really vexed at my man at that time. And she said to me, you know, Thema, he's just the representative. I said, aren't you supposed to be my friend? And on my side, you're supposed to be bucking if you bucking, you know what I mean? But it was the truth, because especially for those of you who are having some shaking in your love life. Your lover is your master teacher. They show you where you are still wounded. They show you where you are still wounded. It is your job to heal those wounds and not make the outcome about being in union with them. You can't walk in a room and pick out a relationship. You can only pick out two people who are relating a certain way.
Yes.
Each person is bringing themselves to the exchange. If you want to change in the experience, you can change yourself. You can't change nobody else, but you can change yourself and see what that then does to the dynamic. So we talked about career, we talked about like relationships. Some of you may be feeling some shaking and shifting happening in your health, your physical or emotional or mental health. Remember that all of you is obedient to your consciousness. And so you have to become decisive if you want to leverage this eclipse properly. You want to leverage the energy of this eclipse and a new moon. What? I was like, oh, this is not a game. Like, everything is aligned to take the chaos and properly place it.
Yeah. Like the lunar eclipse on the full moon, and now a solar eclipse with the new moon. It's like, okay.
You ain't got no choice. So this isn't the time to try to escape the responsibility of making the necessary decisions. You got to decide what you're going to be and what you're going to do with your life. And the grace that you had to drag your feet around that, part of the reason you may be having some difficulty is because it's not available right now.
Yeah.
You are in a corner and spirit is like, so what? What you gonna do?
Exactly.
So lots of water elements, spiritual baths, head cleansings with water. Even if you just gotta take one of them small dollar store bottles and put some cool water in it and just spray your head while you at your desk or whatever, on the go. Water will keep your energy kind of cool while you're feeling the heat of the pressure of needing to make some choices. I also shared in another live, I think it was a few weeks ago, about some homeopathic remedies that I recommend. And so that will be helpful as well. Get your homeopathic tools out, your crystal essences, flower essences. Um, those will help regulate your nervous system, and it'll be working in the backdrop while you're still having to function throughout the day. So that's the advantage of these things. And then if you ain't got some God medicine, you need some, get some herbal therapy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
We actually have a formulation called Get Grounded. And so this is the time to drink that. Like I literally have like a huge picture of it on the counter right now. When we're done, I'm going back to sipping on it. It's formulated to anchor the energy, anchor the truth, and support you with just settling all of the energy. And then, I want to just kind of invite you to join us on April 13th. We are hosting a free event for empowerment professionals, the people who are the coaches, the mentors, the healers. We really want to make sure that you are handling the transformations you're having to make personally well. And by that, I mean, imagine like me, for example, I've been in business full time for over 11 years. I've built this brand, it's international. Everybody knows Tama.
So willy nilly, like that was so easy.
It was work, but you know what I mean. But it's just, I don't, for some reason, sometimes I don't want to talk about myself that way. But it is what it is. It's
Wow, you hype yourself up.
Gas me up, I hype me up. Okay, so imagine I've built all this energy, all of this recognition, all of this positive impact around popping a squat. And then I wake up one day and decide I don't want to do that no more. Or something changes. I have changed. What am I supposed to do with all that I've made? What am I supposed to do with all of these people who know me for one thing? And so on the 13th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are hosting a free opportunity for you to feed off of our energy and wisdom around choosing alignment over achievement. If you don't make the shift correctly, you become transactional. And now it's not even about the heart-centered connection with the marketplace. Now it's just about the revenue goal.
Just the ching. Yep.
I gotta sell this even though I don't even resonate with it anymore because I got bills to pay, and the people gonna buy it anyway because they think they getting me, but they just getting a version of me. It's important that we learn how to integrate our layers so that we can bring all of our layers forward. So it's not that older versions of yourself aren't relevant, but sometimes you need to merge. And once you merge all of these versions of you, the 11-year-old version of Tama that started the womb sauna versus the version of me I'm now, we are cooperating. We ain't fighting and arguing. And it shows in your marketing, it shows in how you present, it shows in if you're working or not. Some of you have completely abandoned aspects of you that are still relevant and needed in the world because you couldn't figure out how to merge and harmonize with yourself.
Yep.
And so that event is free. And we will also be sharing how becoming a part of our movement and the work we do supports that kind of transition. Our practitioners are some of the most phenomenal women in the world. And so if you want to register for that, Althea put it in the comments. It's thewombsauna.com/events. You'll also see it going across the banner underneath our beautiful faces. You know what I mean? We trying. So go ahead and go to thewombsauna.com/events and register for that event on the 13th. Like I said, it's free. And we just want to sow and share some good energy that will recalibrate you and also give you the opportunity to come into the tribe life that we create, because tribe life is the advantage. I told y'all community is the next major healing for us all. And if you are still moving solo, I don't know why you do that in 2024. I just don't understand. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Why would you be going through something and not call nobody and tell them that you're going through it? Why would you be trying to launch something that you think is of value and you don't call none of you don't have people in the marketplace you can call and say, sis, I'm getting ready to birth something and I need to get as much visibility on it. So let's go ahead and do. That's how we move over here in the womb sauna. Sure. Let Althea tell me she can ready to drop a book. I am like, so where's the tour date? Am I lying?
Nope.
Let one of our students be in motion and they share that with us. We are right there. Now, if you're stuck and stagnant, you're not going to be able to do well in this space because we won't know. You're the one that's, oh, I don't know, that imposter syndrome kicks in and you're wondering if you're even enough. Love does not care about your accomplishment. Love is who you are, and it's available if you decide that you're ready for it. Right? So I wanted to just come give you some of our good energy. We're going to wrap up. But again, I invite you to join us on the 13th at 6 p.m. We're going to continue this conversation, particularly around those of you who know that you have outgrown your success at the level that it's at. Come and be with us on the 13th. Althea, anything else you want to chime in and say before we go?
I think we said it all, to be honest. I'm about to get myself a nice little spray bottle and keep it close by. I'm like, oh, that's actually a really good tip.
Yeah. Girl, put that thing
I usually use like rose water. I like to keep a little spritz bottle of rose water, but yeah.
I like rose water, but sometimes I like just plain water because for me, it's less to program.
Yes.
So the more that I put into it, the more it becomes more than just water. But water just in and of itself can do it for me. And I can tell it exactly what to transform into. And I know the molecules are listening. So, sometimes I'll do rose water. Sometimes I'll do just regular water. The new thing that I think I'm getting ready to do and let the womb be heard is I'm going to do a teaching for the group on how to make your own black salt.
I love it.
Yeah. So if you're not in our group, head over there, because that black salt, girl, I throw that thing out the door every morning and it does incredible work. And so these are some tools. If you don't have black salt in your life, you need that too. So anyway, we'll be here all day. Let me wrap it up. Love y'all. Hope this was of value. Put below what your biggest aha was. Let us know if this gave you what you needed, and we'll see you on the 13th at 6 p.m.
Yes.